Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 67 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. So if you have been thinking about going away on a retreat, or maybe you have one planned in the near future, there is a chance that you've been wondering what's going to happen when you are on a retreat. You are also probably wondering, how do I make the most of my time and my money that I am investing into this retreat? And whether or not it's an in-person retreat or a virtual one, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to make the most out of your next retreat. So retreats have been one of the most powerful ways that I've experienced transformation. It's when we are truly in an immersive experience. And when I say immersive, I mean one that completely wraps us up in its intention, whether it's of healing, of growth and development, that will feel this focus, the focus that's really necessary for us to really understand what we're experiencing and how do we actually move forward. In a world that is completely full of distractions, we rarely sit down with something long enough to see it through. Whether it is a problem or an opportunity, these things just come and go and come and go and come and go. And we use all sorts of things in the external world, whether it is activities or ways that we overwork or eat or drink or gossip or mindlessly watching TV. All of those things to just help us feel better, but it doesn't truly address the root cause. And I remember my first retreat was when I was 8 years old. I didn't realize it then, but it was a retreat. I went to they called it a Buddha camp in upstate New York. It was a family affair, but the parents had a different camp than the kids. And I remember waking up at dawn, walking into the morning stillness, walking down the path. It was completely out in nature. And I was heading off to the meditation hall with the rest of the kids for our morning meditation. And I remember hearing, when we were in the meditation hall, all the different gongs that were playing as we began to meditate and chant. And whether or not I truly understood the neuroscience and processes behind what was happening around me with the vibrations of sound, as well as with the experience of sitting and being in meditation, I felt it. I felt it, and it changed me. And I began meditating after that. And the rest of the days were spent as kids spend their days. We played, we made up skits, we ate together. It was vegetarian food. I even remember that there was a resident dog, I think it was a stray, that they took in, and he also ate vegetarian food with us, which for me was mind-blowing because I thought all dogs ate meat or kibble, and didn't realize that dogs eat whatever people give them. And we ate together in community. And so I remember this time being spent very similarly to the way I spend a lot of retreats now. I was in nature. I remember looking for turtles. I explored, and I was in community, and I was learning new things, and I was practicing things that I don't normally do at home. So when I returned home, I began and continued meditating. And I remember each night I would sit at the foot of my bed and chant. And I also had this process where I would send love to all of the different members of my family, even my pets at the time, and I didn't know it then, but that was my first retreat experience. And it was one of the reasons why retreats have always resonated with me. I knew from a young age that these kinds of experiences have that power to change your daily life when you return. And I want you to think back. You might have attended a camp or something when you were younger, but when was the last time you did something like that for yourself? When was the last time you put yourself into a truly immersive experience that didn't necessarily have to do with all of your day-to-day things, and allowed yourself to have an experience that changed you, and one where you were connected with other people and community? And so I think that for many of us, it's been a while. So I wanted to share this with you, not only because if you are thinking about the next retreat that you're on and how to make the most of it, but if you're thinking of even going on a retreat, I want you to reflect on the possible benefits that it could have for you, especially if you've had any kind of experiences like this as a child and you remember how impactful that was. So since that time, when I was 8, I've gone on retreats that were centered around wellness, around healing, spiritual entrepreneurship, around chakras and yoga. I've also started leading my own retreats, whether they were virtually or in person. And whether we are talking business or personal life, what matters most isn't the topic always, but it's the intention and focus that comes when we start to quiet our minds, and it is the environment in which we talk about a topic. I've found that it is through meditation and these moments of mindfulness that I've witnessed the greatest transformations internally as well as externally. I use these techniques to solve and work through everyday problems, and I share these with my clients as well. And so sometimes we feel that these kind of experiences are so separate from our daily lives. Like, how is that going to help me with this next decision that I'm going to make? When in fact, you will likely benefit the most from being in that kind of clarity that you receive when you're dropped in with your meditation, being in that kind of present moment awareness where you reduce all of the outside noise, where you're really clear about what it is that matters, and you forget about the past, and you also let go of some of the baggage that you've been carrying around. And so if these things resonate with you, this might be why you're listening to this podcast now, and it also might be why you're thinking about retreats in general. And so there was actually a study, I think it was in 2016, conducted by Mount Sinai, the University of California, San Francisco, and Harvard Medical School, that measured the quote-unquote vacation effect compared with quote-unquote the meditation effect. And let me explain kind of how this study worked. There were 3 groups that all went to the same retreat center. One group did a regular resort vacation. When I say resort vacation, I just mean that they were at the center and they ate healthy food and were in this kind of healthier environment. The other group, the second group, were novice meditators, people who are new at meditating, and they participated, however, in a yoga or meditation program. They were learning about meditation, yoga. They were experiencing it. They were participating in lectures that also brought in that same kind of contemplative experience. And there was a third group that were regular meditators, but also participated in that same yoga and meditation program. And what the study results showed were that not only were there significant changes in the genetic expression of stress and immune pathways for all of these groups due to the vacation effect, which means that vacations help your stress and immune responses. But there was also results for the ones that learned meditation. They had what we call the meditation effect. So the meditation effect was a positive change in the cellular network of the genes that are responsible for healthy aging. Novice meditators, the ones that were new, if you think about those folks, that group, they showed significant decreases in psychological stress over a longer time than the group that was just on vacation as well. So, in summary, meditation on retreat was shown to improve genetic expression, psychological stress, well-being, and aging. And so you can start to see that, one, it makes a lot of sense for you to go on vacation because you start to reduce a lot of the stressors that are in your life, and it has a physiological effect in terms of the genetic expression of stress and immune pathways. But it also helps if you're on a vacation that includes yoga or meditation or that kind of intentionality. That is a retreat experience, and that will have longer term psychological effects that are positive, as well as the genetic effects that we also witness in the vacation group. And the regular meditators also ended up with a deeper genetic effect in terms of the way that their bodies responded to a more intense experience like a retreat, even though they were regular meditators at home. So I hope that makes sense. I know that sometimes these studies can be a little bit confusing, but these are things that we might intuitively know. Vacation's good for us. Why? I feel good. Why do you feel good? Because of all these things that are happening. But I think that that second part of understanding, well, why do I feel good and different from a retreat vacation versus a resort, normal, quote unquote, regular resort vacation, is because of other things that are happening when we go into an immersive experience that is centered around intentionality, contemplative practices like yoga and meditation, and using that as a foundation for the work that you are doing in the retreat. It's also why people have a longer term, greater transformation from these experiences, which I myself have had through multiple retreats. There's always been something that I've experienced during these retreats that have created in me a ripple effect into my daily life when I return. Even though you're not living that retreat life every single day, you're able to bring what I believe is probably 90% of the benefits into your life. And it's why I go on retreat pretty regularly, because I know that it's a tune-up for my nervous system. It is a way for us to really come into this place of dropping out of expectations, opening up to the energy around us, and to really start to connect to what we are about to and currently experiencing in our life. Even if it's the same retreat that you go on again and again, you're going to have a different experience because you are a different person. So, how do you actually make the most out of your next retreat? Maybe you have one coming up. If you don't and you're interested in doing one, feel free to reach out. I consistently have retreats that are coming up that you can sign up for as well. And you can go to mayumsin.com/contact and learn more, and I will share with you all the things. So there are 3 ways that you can really utilize your time most effectively. They are to clear your calendar, set an intention, and then release expectations. So clearing your calendar, let's talk about that. We're often so busy with the external world's demands that we are still dealing with them, even while we're on vacation or even on retreat. I think that for many of us, it takes a while for us to figure out, how do we stop checking our email? How do we really drop in? How do I feel that sigh of relief that I'm actually on vacation now, or I'm actually away and I'm needing to be here? Sometimes we even get stressed thinking, I'm still doing my thing and I'm on vacation. Why am I on vacation? The reason for that is because you know you're really here for time off. And one of the reasons why the vacation effect occurs is because we lower our stress levels. Remember, the vacation effect was all those positive benefits that we have to our well-being. We lower our stress levels on vacation in our minds and our bodies, and that improves our psychological and our physical health. If we cannot remove ourselves from our daily stressors, we will not have that healing effect we so long to have. It seems very simple, but it is what will make the time and experience most effective. So tactical things you can do are these. Tell people ahead of time that you will be gone. And when I say tell people, you can tell them in person, share with it. You can put an out of office into place as well, in terms of in your email or your calendar. You remove your appointments. I've done that myself, where I've left some things thinking, you know what, I'll have time to squeeze this in or to talk to this person, and it does not work. It does not work. Number one, because you will usually be so present in the retreat experience that you might forget about meeting with that person or doing that thing. But the second is, when we go back and forth between these kinds of experiences, we are not fully present in either one. And so we often feel that we can keep things going, but in reality, you're here, you're doing this thing, do as much as you can to move it aside. We often feel that we cannot delay the things that are in motion before we go away. And so that's one of the reasons why we want to stay so connected. Oh, I'll have my email. If you really need me, you can text me. But what's the point of going away if we're just doing the same thing somewhere else? This is one of the ways that you can create boundaries, by just saying, I won't be checking email, or I won't be texting, or let yourself just not even offer that up. How would that feel when you don't even say, I'll have my email or I can check? Maybe you will, or maybe you could check a text, but maybe you just don't say that. You just let it end with, I'll be on vacation from these dates to these dates. I'll return messages when I respond. Here's a person that you can reach out to if you need something or that's really urgent. So these are a few ways that you actually go away and stay away in terms of being really present in that moment. I know it can be really challenging to do this first step if you're used to constantly delivering and your life and your work feels so demanding, but this experience is for you. And if you want to see the improvements in your life to your well-being that you really long to have, you'll have to make some changes. And one of those include the addition of these regular moments of rest. Rest is so important. And the retreat is this big moment of rest in your life. Many times people think of it as this luxury, and I'm not saying that you can't have a luxurious retreat. Rest is not a luxury. You don't have to do something extremely fancy or spend money that you don't have. And there are a host of retreats that will fit any kind of budget that you have. But taking breaks are going to be really critical to your well-being. And one of the reasons retreats work so well for true breaks is because you're asked to be truly present in the activities, in the lessons, in the experiences that are happening in a retreat. So it's not as easy to be working on retreat unless it's a working retreat, which is another topic that I will cover. I love those as well. So this kind of retreat that I'm talking about here is one where you are actually able to clear your calendar, be away for a few days or a week, and even with a working retreat, which I'll explain to you what that is, you are still separating yourself from your daily demands to complete another kind of work activity, maybe one that is more spiritually motivated. When I say spiritual, I mean inspirational, one that you need to be a little bit disconnected for, whether it is writing a book or creating your whole new strategy for the next thing you're planning to do, like an offsite. A lot of people do offsites together, or I'll sometimes do coaching experiences that are completely away as well to really get people out of their day-to-day. So clearing your calendar for a few days or a week really helps you to have that space for something new to come into your life. So give it a try. See if clearing your calendar, whether it's for your next vacation or your next retreat, will really change your ability to be present. And it might feel scary, but giving it a try is well worth that feeling of disconnection from your daily to-dos. Life is going to go on without you, my friend. It truly will. So the next tip that I have for you is to set an intention. So you've carved out your time and you've carved out resources to make this retreat happen. So let's make the most out of the time you have by setting an intention. Many retreats have a theme, and that might be the intention that resonates the most with you. You might also have a specific intention that is personal to you, that is different from the theme of the retreat that you're going to go on. I've gone on retreats with the intention to fully be present and open my mind to whatever happens. I've also gone on retreats to improve my well-being and my health. I've gone on retreats to work through a difficult topic that I was experiencing at that time. I've gone on retreats to learn a new skill and to connect with others in a community. So take time before the retreat to think about what would make the most difference in your life right now. If you could feel a shift, what would that be? And that would most likely be your most relevant intention. If you're still struggling to think through an intention for your next retreat, you can answer this question, which is, what is the most important thing for me to experience right now? What is the most important thing for me to experience right now? All right, so the third way to make the most out of your next retreat is to release expectations. So while I just shared with you some of the ways in which your health or your well-being are going to be positively affected by a retreat, the ability to release our expectations and have an open mind are also going to be really important for you to allow change to occur. Expectations can help us set an intention, like I just talked about, for that type of transformation that you're wanting to experience. On the flip side, letting go of expectations once you have an intention for exactly how everything is going to work on the retreat will be the way for you to open yourself up to surprises that are even better. If you are a person who likes to know everything and control everything, releasing expectations for how everything is going to go during retreat might feel really challenging. Retreats come often with an itinerary, but you will also feel more present if you hold onto that itinerary loosely. If you are able to let time shift and you're able to be flexible with whatever happens, you are able then to remove a stressor from your retreat experience. This is also an analogy for how you live your life. When you practice living on retreat the way you want to live in your daily life, that's going to be one of the ways that you embody and integrate your learnings. Many people want to go on a retreat to experience less stress. Less stress is going to come when you stop resisting what is present in your life. If you stop saying, I wish that wasn't the case, why can't this be happening right now? How come this is happening? All of those questions create stress. So if you decide you want to go on a retreat, see if you can witness what comes and what goes throughout your retreat with a sense of acceptance. All right, so those were the 3 ways to make the most out of your next retreat: clearing your calendar, setting an intention, releasing expectation. And know that no matter what kind of retreat that you go on, it's truly an experience. It's not something you create, it is something you experience. It's not something you have, it is something you experience. And life is something we experience as well. And it is a great way for you to get out of your daily routine, to be led and to be guided into an experience that might not be one that you would normally have, and let that change you. Let that be one of the ways in which you create this ripple effect into your daily life. And so I've gone on probably 4 retreats at least in the last year. And while that's probably on the high side for me at times, it is something that I've noticed has catapulted my growth in ways that I could not have imagined. In the beginning, I, probably like you, thought of retreats as this luxury experience. Why do I get to go away? Why do I get to spend time doing things that are truly enjoyable for me by myself? That creates a lot of guilt. That creates a lot of anxiety around finances, around time away. If you have children or jobs or spouses or partners, you feel a sense of obligation. Why am I not spending the time with my family, for example, or doing other things? Those thoughts are not necessarily new. Those thoughts apply to pretty much anything you do where you are doing something that might be for you or something that you want to do. So what I'm going to challenge you with is thinking through this experience. If the end result is something positive and something that you would like to experience, see if you can make this happen for you, at least to see what it's like and be able to experience it for yourself and to say whether or not you felt that it's just worth it. Either way, retreats are a way for us to truly inhabit a new way of being. And what I've started doing in my life is creating a way for me to constantly bring my retreat experiences home with me. That has become one of the most powerful ways that I have changed and that I have become more and authentically myself, is by actually taking back the things that have served me and bringing it into my daily life. And so for those of you that think that this is just a one-time thing that comes and goes and doesn't have a positive effect, I will ask you how you can actually think about integrating some of the things that you're learning back into your day. And when I lead retreats, that's going to always be a huge part of the discussion and the conversation, because knowing is not enough, it is the doing. And often we learn a lot on retreats, but we don't take the time to actually live them through and integrate and practice them until it becomes something that we do. So I hope that this topic was relevant, that you learned a few things about going away on retreats. You have created for yourself maybe a thought of why you might want to go on retreat, or why you aren't experiencing the kind of breakthroughs when you have gone on retreat. And I have a few suggestions that I shared for how to make the most out of your next retreat. So if you like these topics, you want to go even further, I host a few different retreats that you can participate in. Some are virtual so that you don't have to leave, and some are away and in person. So again, you can always learn more on my website, www.mayemson.com/contact. And if you want to be in this retreat experience throughout the year, I also do a group coaching program where we train on these kinds of topics twice a month. And this month we're covering mind-body practices, and we're going to go further into how do we drop in with meditation, with stillness, with different ways of visualization and energetic practices, so that we can connect even more with ourselves. And you can go to mayamson.com/contact again to learn more about this as well. So I love you, my friends. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.